everybody. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about different pitches today. In the last couple of weeks we've been talking about rhythms, how to count them, doing all those different kinds of things. So today though we're going to talk about pitches. Now we have talked about notes, but we really haven't talked about pitches. We know that a note has a duration. For example, the quarter note has 1 beat, half note has 2 beats. The pitch, on the other hand, has a sound. As you can see, when I turn my piano on there, the pitch has a sound. So we have all different kinds of sounds in pitches. The pitch tells us basically how low or how high the sound should be. The note, on the other hand, tells us the duration. For example, if I had a car and the car was, our pitch, the note then would be like the gas. I would put the quarter note would be like, oh, that'll give me 1 mile. Oh, the whole note will give me 4 miles. And then the car is the pitch, so it'll tell me, oh, what kind of pitch it'll make or what sound it'll make, but the note is the duration. So today what we're going to be talking about is the pitches on the staff, okay? Now to help us with that though, we need to know what kind of pitches are on the lines. And to tell us that, we have 2 symbols for that. So we have the treble clef, and to make a treble clef, it's very simple. You're gonna make one big line, you're gonna make a P, just like that, okay? And then you're gonna make a 6, and then a little hook at the end, just like that. And you can practice doing that a couple of times. Again, it's just a line, and you can make the P a little bit smaller, thinner, and then a 6, and then just a little hook on the end. Very simple like that. The other, and we call that the treble clef, okay? So that is the treble clef. Oops, yeah. Okay? Treble clef. Okay? So the treble clef is called the G clef. Now the reason why they call it the G clef is because the middle, or this line right here, the second line, the pitch is G, and that's why. In our second clef, it's called a bass clef, okay? Now the bass clef is more of the lower clefs, or it's the lower pitches. So think of the treble clef. We use the treble clef more or less for, we use it for trumpets, saxophones, French horns, the right part of the piano, the right part of the xylophone, things like that. Usually our voices, as we are right now, we usually sing in treble clef. The bass clef, on the other hand, the bass clef is more for baritones and trombones and tubas. And then for our lower voices, for those of us that may have lower voices, we sing in the bass clef. Okay? Now the bass clef is very simple to draw. All you do is make a half a heart, just like that, and make 2 little dots. Now the nickname for the bass clef is called the F clef. Now the reason why it's called the F clef is because this line right here is an F. Okay? That would be why it's called an F clef. Okay? Now, when doing the pitches on the treble clef, we go E, G, B, D, and F. We'll just name them here. Make sure they're pretty big for you guys to see. E, G, B, D, and F. And everybody has a different name for this, and this will be your assignment here coming up, and I'll give you that here in a few minutes. Everybody uses an anagram, which is like every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. Next is F, A, C, and E, which is line, here, here, and here. And as you can see, that spells face, F-A-C-E, okay? And that's what we use for the spaces of the pitches and the spaces. Now, as you're going to notice, you will never see anything past G. The only letters of the alphabet that we use are A through G, okay? Is A through G. We don't use anything else, and we just then restart. So, now that we've got our pitches here, okay, in the bass clef, we do G, B, D, F, and A. Okay, good boys deserve fudge always. You can do it that way, or good bananas deserve fudge anyways, or you know, you can do something different like that. And then in the spaces, you have A, C, E, and then of course G. So A, C, E, G. All right. So that's your bass clef notes. Okay. Again, as a treble clef, we sing in the treble clef. We sing our higher notes. In the bass clef, we sing our lower notes. Okay. Now there is a note. Sometimes we have pitches on the bottom part of the staff and the top part of the staff. What we call those is we call them ledger lines. Now, ledger lines are used above the staff and below the staff just to recognize the notes, and very simple. So, for example, we have a note here that's on this ledger line. We call this one middle C. Now, middle C is really important because it basically is the cutting point to both the treble clef and the bass clef. So if I played middle C, down from middle C down would be my bass clef. From middle C up would be my treble clef. Now, does the bass clef go over middle C? Yes, it does, and it's still in the bass clef. It's just higher in the ledger lines. Same thing with the treble clef. If you have a treble clef notes that want to go lower than middle C, it's still in the treble clef. It'll just be in a very lower area of the treble clef. Okay? And if you have any questions, again, I have a video and things like that with it reviewing this, just in case you need to. All right? All right, so for your assignment for this week, for week, I believe this is week 4 or 5, okay? For this assignment, what you're going to do is using E, G, B, D, F, and F, A, C, E, and same thing with your bass clef, you're going to create an anagram for me. So what you're going to do is you're going to create something to help you remind you that all the lines with basically a simple term. So for example, I'll erase this here. And you have to make sure that you do it for both. This is for bass clef and treble clef. And you can do this on a lot of different things. You could do this on a piece of construction paper. You can do it on just a regular notebook piece of paper. You can do whatever you want. So this is what I want for your assignment. What you're going to do is you're going to create a staff, treble clef, and what you're going to do is you're going to draw the pitches just like this for the lines. Okay? And what you're going to do then is you're going to put a syllable right where they're at. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a word for every single one of those pitches. So again, a very simple one that everybody's used, every good boy does fine. Okay? So I want you to come up with a phrase that reminds you of the words there. Same thing here. F, A, C, E. You can go fat, ants, can, eat. Okay? And then it'll remind you of that one. So I want you to do that for treble clef, and then I also want you to do it for bass clef. So again, for bass clef, again, I want you to go, you've got that G, B, D, F, A. So again, G, B, D, F, and A. Come up with one. Good boys deserve fudge always. Okay? I want you to come up with your very own one to help you remember this. Then again, you can go A, C, E, G, A, C, E, G, and this could be funny. You could have animal ones, you could pretend they're different colors. You can just be like ants can eat, and a good word for G would be giants. If you wanted to, ants can eat giants, you know? You could do something funny like that. Whatever you want to do to help you remember that those are the notes that are on the line, those are the notes on the spaces. So those are the pitches that I want you to remember. Because later you will have a quiz with pitches. Okay? Alright, and then what I'd like you to do is, if you can, I will put a worksheet also on there. It's called the Spelling Bee worksheet. You'll be able to see the notes and you can try and fill them out. That one is if you want to. You can if you want, it's extra practice, but I do really want you to do the anagram here, this assignment, by putting the words with the pitches, just to kind of help you remember, okay? All right, if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to email me and we'll get you taken care of. All right, thanks guys, have a great one.